Welcome to 3R's Sports. No longer 3R's Sports. Still presented by 3R's Sports. The originals, Rob, Raj, and Randall. Now joined by the latest cast member and permanent addition to the family. Welcome aboard, Brendan Chain. You're supposed to talk now, Chain.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right.
Yeah.
So, in doing this, we decided to rebrand slightly too. And we've spent all week, folks, texting with each other, coming up with a name, until one of our fearless 3R's, original member Robbie, threw out the name Reckless Speculation. Now, to me, that's what this show is all about. We take a little bit of truth, a little bit of what we think, and we blow it up into a lot of speculation. And that's what we're all about. You'll also hear some twisted thoughts, especially from the West Coast, right down there. He gets
no joke. You forgot in a lot of bullshit.
Going on.
That's our third ingredient.
Can people see the logo up? Can people see our logo up at the top?
Wherever right up here above Brendan's chain, our new logo. We'll call him. We'll call him. We'll give him a name at some point, but it'll come.
Does he have red hair?
Yes, he's a ginger. So I was thinking Leaping Lanny, but that might have hit a little close to the league. But let's move ahead. With Lenny up in the corner, we move to the first subject of tonight. College basketball has started. Robbie, how excited was you to sit down and watch college basketball last night?
Oh, so this is my favorite time of the year. College football, the NFL, and really in college basketball is starting up. And this is the time. So you have college basketball is really broken into three things. It's broken into the tournament, obviously, conference play, and then these early season matchups. And so it was great. We saw some blue bloods out last night. I don't know how much we're going to talk about Tennessee tonight, but we will throughout the season. I was thrilled to see my one pet peeve with Rick Barnes seems to be eliminated, and that is that they are no longer settling for 2-point jump shots. He has finally embraced this 3-point mentality, and he's told his guys, if you get the offensive rebound, if it's not a layup, go back out. We're going to shoot threes. They shot 40 last night, I believe, hit 17. In this first game, as this new look offense is made, they set a program record for threes made. I could not be happier about what I saw about the Vols last night. And then Duke looked great. Kentucky looked all right.
Is somebody real quick? Is somebody watching like I Love Lucy? Somebody's TV is super loud. Do you guys not hear that, or is my phone?
I hear it.
I hear it. I just wasn't going to say nothing.
I don't hear anything.
Let me try to let me see if it's me.
That's because
it's not. You think it is?
It went away.
Now it's gone. Is that Rob? What the fuck is that?
Let me check the filter.
Try to figure out what it is. I was gonna go with Lethal Weapon, but then I heard.
Let me go check on my daughter. She could be. I've got the earbuds in, so I can't hear anything. Give me 2 seconds.
Put yourself on mute, Brandon.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Okay, I'm going to put myself on mute.
I still hear it. He's not on mute. Well, we'll figure it out. Sorry, Rob. I couldn't hear about UT Hoop. There it goes.
It seems to be cut down now, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think.
I think we found it in
He's
Mr.
got it.
Chain's home. So go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly rerun what I was saying about my pet peeve with Barnes has been great. The one thing that I have struggled with him is the 2-point jump shot that he kept running and running. He seems to be eliminating that. Now they're going to let it fly. They looked really, really good. Again, I mean, obviously a subpar UT Martin team, but they fought well. But I'm excited about UT. Duke looked great. Kentucky, I think they have talent, but I think they have the same problems as no shooters. And in today's college basketball, that's a huge problem.
That's where our reckless speculation is going to start. I watched that game, and I actually thought Kentucky, I think Duke is a more complete team, but I also think Kentucky showed much more of desire to compete. I was more impressed with Kentucky last night than Duke in certain phases. But Robbie, Duke is the more complete basketball team. But how complete? To me, they look like a top 5 team.
Oh yeah, the Paulo, Tennessee came in second in his recruitment. If he was at Tennessee with Chandler, good Lord. And then they have was it King Carey? Was that the second guy?
Keels. Trevor Keels. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he looks like a wing version of Zion. He just gets to the rim and uses his body and bounces. They looked really, really good. I was really impressed. They don't have a lot of weaknesses. I mean, it's one game. Don't overreact. But I was really impressed with Duke. I agree with you, Randall. Kentucky fought hard, and they took every punch, and they bounced back. But we'll see how their shooting comes throughout the rest of the season.
Raj, reckless speculation on my part. Tennessee, Duke, and Kentucky, 1, 2, 3 in recruiting last year, all highly disappointed. Did old dogs learn new tricks? And Calipari, Rick Barnes, and of course, Coach K on the way out the door. Did they learn something from last year?
I'll tell you in April. Doesn't really matter right now. I mean, one thing I liked about Tennessee is the depth. And like Rob said, it seemed like Barnes did trade up some philosophy there. He was playing all sorts of guys in the first half, whereas before it seems like I just see what's his name? The point Vescovi and a lot of Ferguson. Ferguson is, it's just ugly, but it's effective. But I really liked watching those guys play, especially that Huntley Hatfield kid.
Yeah,
that kid just looks like he's going to be a player. We all know about Kennedy Chandler, but wow, I was really impressed with him. He just looks like a baller. As it comes to
Hatfield's
other teams,
supposed to be a senior in high school right now, may I add.
Wow. Well, he looks like
he reclassified into this class. He is truly a 17-year-old high school senior.
He's a monster. He's 6'10", 245, and he reminds me he's bigger than Trevor Keels. But Trevor Keels, when's the last time Duke had a banger? They always have these tall, skinny, back-to-the-basket dudes. That Keels guy was a man amongst boys. And Kentucky has Oscar Tshiebwe, the transfer from West Virginia, who's a big dude. But that guy was unstoppable. Other things I noticed real quick yesterday, Kansas looked dang good. SC beat them in the round of 32 by like 34 points. Now, Kansas didn't have a bunch of dudes. And I was at that game, and it was awesome. But last night, dude, Obaji, Remy Martin, McCormick is back. Those guys looked complete. They looked like guys were playing roles. They had 2 deadly scorers. They're athletic, which is Gonzaga's downfall, in my opinion. I think they're the best team in the country right now. As for the Bruins, West Coast guy, people forget that they were in the first 4 last year and they had to go to overtime to beat Michigan State.
Yeah.
Now they are playing with a different level of confidence. Cody Riley, one of their big dudes, hurt his knee. Hope it's not serious because that would be awful in the first game of the year. But I know they got Peyton Watson, so they're super talented. But Cronin's never been a super offensive guy with those kind of resources. So I just don't want to crown them already like people at UCLA are.
So a good question, Raj. Then we'll move up to Brendan about the Ohio State game and the Big Ten outlook. I'll ask you and Robbie and Brendan the same question. When I did my preview this year, I know the Pac-12 had a great run. I don't see that great run this year. Is this a down year for the Pac-12?
No. Actually, I'd argue that it's going to be more competitive because Arizona's gotten a lot better. They've gotten some transfers. They have 2 dudes in Tabulis and I forgot the other kid's name, Benedict Matherin, they're both predicted as first-round picks. The top 3 are UCLA, Oregon, and USC. Washington State's on the rise. Oregon State brings everybody back from that Elite 8 team except for Stevie Thompson. I think it's going to be a better league this year. Now, the bottom of the league is trash. Cal losing to my alma mater, UC San Diego, who's been D1 for a year.
Bad.
That's horrible. And Washington's pretty terrible. They lost a bad Northern Illinois team. By the way, Hopkins, that guy's got to be on the way out the door. But the top of the conference, they're not going to catch anyone by surprise this year. But I think the top 5, 6, 7 are going to be really good. Not SEC good or Kansas Duke good, but I think they're going to be a group of teams that's really tough matchups for a lot of schools, and they're big too. So I think it's going to be a strong year.
Robbie, what's your gut on the Pac-12?
Similar thought. I mean, I think so. You got UCLA, you got USC, you've got Oregon, and you got Arizona. I think those are going to be, your 4 staples, as Raj was alluding to. Then, Washington State, I think they're on Lenardi's first 4 in, first 4 out. They're on the bubble right there. But we just saw from UCLA, it's hot at the right time. I actually think as the conference progresses, I think USC overtakes UCLA. I think they're a lot on what happened last year, and it's like when VCU went from the first 4 to the Final 4. Yeah, it's a great story, but they were the first 4 for a reason. Like, the tournament's the craziest thing in sports. You can get hot and you can run with it. Yeah, Cronin's he's a good coach. He's a really good coach. But you're still building there, and I think UCLA moved towards the top, and they battled out. And Oregon's a great sports program, football, basketball, everything. Like, they're just there's a little swoosh to that, right? Not an asterisk, a swoosh. They do everything, and Arizona's a basketball powerhouse, and I agree. The bottom half is trash. It's just,
Hey, I wanted to ask
Speaking
the
of
SEC guys, real quick. SEC guys, we know about a lot of the top teams, but I was curious about the 3A's: Alabama, Auburn, Arkansas. They're getting a lot of pub. Bama, they shoot too many threes, and eventually it's going to catch up with you, like it did last year. But tell me about Arkansas and Auburn and Alabama, please, because I'm curious. They're all highly ranked.
I love Alabama. I actually don't think they shoot too many threes. And I think they've put I was going to speculate about it. That the best coach under the age of 65 in the SEC now is Nate Oates. Calipari over 65, Barnes over 65. Nate Oates is building a championship squad, ranked number 2 in recruiting. I love what Nate Oates is doing.
I don't know how old he is and how old Mark Few is. I would say Nate Oates is the best coach. If he's younger than Mark Few, the best coach under Mark Few's age in the country. Nate Oates is legit. But to answer, to answer your question, I wrote down my predicted order of finish in SEC is UT, Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, and then Auburn. I think all of those schools are really, really good at basketball.
Nate Oates is 47 years old.
Yeah. He will be in the
So-
NBA.
Yeah, I really like Alabama. I'm not sold on Auburn, even though they have the big North Carolina transfer. But somehow Pearl gets the most out of them. Arkansas, I think, is super athletic. I don't know if they can shoot enough. So now I got to talk about the ugly, though. The ugliest game I saw yesterday, Chain. A layup to beat Akron?
Yeah.
Akron dominated that basketball game.
They did. They did, absolutely. We look like if you put a puppy in the middle of the interstate, lost. like we just didn't know which direction. There was no.
Why you gotta kill puppies?
I didn't say the puppy was going to die. I just said you look lost. You didn't know which way you're going to get out here. So, nothing against killing puppies or anything. Don't get me wrong here. So, but it's just
speculation.
Exactly. It was hard to watch. There was no ball movement. There was lack of defense. The guys just looked lost out there. So, we won that game. Talent kind of stepped in occasionally to make big plays, big shots. Had a lot of turnovers. EJ Liddell, he put up a double-double. He was 25 points, 11 rebounds. He's kind of the reliant guy that we're looking at for the experience and the leadership there. And then we've, the new freshman who made the layup, Zed Key. He's a big guy, 6'7", 245, power forward. He's give us a little time. Ohio State is notorious for starting slow in all facets of sports. Basketball definitely being one of them. So give them a little time. I think they'll be up there. I don't know if they're quite the number 17 team in the country right now, but well, like Raj says, let's see in April what's going on.
Hey, speaking of record speculation, Randall says he doesn't think Alabama shot too many threes. In 2019, they were first in the country, shooting almost 31, the most attempted. Last year, they were tied. Actually, they were second with 30.4 threes per game. If you look at their big losses, they didn't make threes. They were shooting in the tournament 28, 28, 36. So, host, much respect, but that was reckless speculation on your behalf.
Well,
when they hit them, nobody in the country can beat them. If they shoot 35%, they may be the national champion.
Well,
they have that kind of squad.
And the pushback against this whole 3-point barrage in the tournament has been you're used to shooting them in your gym or in away gyms. You get to these huge ring, you get into football stadiums, all of a sudden that backdrop changes. And if your game is shooting threes, you don't shoot well historically in those games. And that's what's knocked these 3-point reliant teams out.
Law of averages. They'll come back down to
one
earth.
more school real fast. Does Penny finally get it done at Memphis? Robbie, yes or no?
What do you mean by get it done? Make the tournament?
Does he make a deep run into the tournament with this squad?
Well, he hasn't made the tournament yet.
That's my point.
So let's start. Let's walk before we run.
Ranked number 12. We're ranked number 12. At least 3 NBA bodies or 3 perceived NBA players on it.
I think
if they don't make the tournament, is it time for him to go?
No, I mean,
it's Memphis.
You're Memphis. You bring in talent. You bring excitement to that town. You sell tickets. Penny will get to the tournament this year. I haven't seen them play yet, so I'm not going to judge how far I think they'll go. Let's just say, first weekend, I expect them out, but I'll adjust as I see them play.
All right, everybody take just a second. who, round the table, who are you most looking forward to, or who is the team other than your favorite team you're most excited for? Raj.
That's a good question. I don't like Kansas or Duke, but I think they're both going to be the two most exciting teams in the country. Gonzaga, like I said, we saw against Baylor, they're just not athletic enough. So I'll go with Kansas and Duke. They should be fun to watch.
Robbie.
So for me, this is University of Texas. Chris Beard coming from Texas Tech, who he had great success with, and to recruit athletes to Lubbock is a feat on its own. You give him Austin and that talent pool and that recruiting base, I'm interested to see if he can take like Shaka Smart, which was billed as a home run hire when he was hired. Never got it done at Texas. Chris Beard coming over. So is Texas just a cursed program, or does Chris Beard take them to the next level?
That's a great point. Great point. Brandon Jane, who do you have?
I'm going to skip ahead all the way to March and hopefully have somewhat of a repeat season for my Oregon State Beavers. My boy Wayne Tinkle made a hell of a run.
Hell yeah.
Because, I know he beat the Vols first. I'm sorry. But it was – I know the guy personally. And,
oh, you do?
Yeah.
I didn't know you know.
Yeah.
I watched all their games. They were fun to watch, dude.
Oh, yeah. I love Tinks, man. He's a great dude.
That's rad. I didn't know you knew him.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I even know about Oregon State or watch their games is just because of him.
You mean it's not must-see TV?
Right.
But you know about Oregon.
Yeah, I do know about Oregon. But no, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can come back with here. If they can make it into the final tournament again, and which I assume they will, and have a big run again. That was pretty fun to watch.
I mentioned Alabama before, and I think they do make a deep run this year. But I'm going to throw a name that's a blue blood in college basketball that's been unheard of for the last few years, that we're at preseason number 24. I think college basketball is better when UConn is a legit program and a legit face. I still think UConn, of course, women's basketball is the second greatest or greatest dynasty ever. But men's basketball, UConn, I guess I'm a little bit older than you guys, but UConn was a great revolution when they happened. They came out of nowhere and became a superpower in basketball. So I'm interested to see if UConn is really a top 25 team, or we'll be sitting here going, it's still same old UConn.
I think they would have been a top 10 team last year if Book Knight was healthy, who ended up being a lottery pick. They returned everybody else.
One of the Hurleys is coaching there, right?
Yes.
Danny Hurley. They're a dangerous team. They return everybody except Book Knight, but they got used to playing without him. Their point guard, RJ Cole, is money, and that Sanogo guy is huge. So I agree, man. UConn's going to be a pretty tough team. That Sanogo guy is 6'9", 240, 250. Yeesh.
Florida State's getting right there out of the top 25. They're always intriguing. They always have talent, giant wings that can play defense.
You feel like Florida State's overdue for that final game run, where they just put it all together late. We could stay on college basketball all night, but we got to move on to the new BCS standings. And first, let's talk about on this show last week. We did some reckless speculation. We put Michigan State on upset alert, and the Spartans go down. Were we shocked? Or is Michigan State just a really nice story, or are they a national championship contender after the loss? Can they get there, Robbie Davis?
Oh, no, Brandon said it best last week. This is what Purdue does. Like they always beat, they knock people out of championship contention. Michigan State, they still play Ohio State, and then I believe I can't remember who else they have, but Penn State, yeah. So I think Penn State beats them, Ohio State beats them. But if I'm Michigan State, and we'll get to these rankings, but
excuse me, I looked at Michigan. That's Maryland, and then
so if I'm Michigan State, I'm sitting there being like, wait, this is what I get. This is what I don't get about the committee. You've justified these last couple of weeks. Oregon beat Ohio State, so Oregon's ahead of Ohio State. And then you just flip it and be like, well, we don't care about head-to-head now because now Michigan's ahead of Michigan State. Like, it's just you can't get up there and legitimately – you can get up there and defend your opinion, but you can't get up there and legitimately defend your opinion. Like, it's just stupid. It's just one of those, like, hey, my results are going to be talking outside of my mouth. I mean, how's Michigan State now going to climb up? Let's say they beat Ohio State, and then if Michigan beats Ohio State, then they're ahead. Like
they could get revenge against Purdue because even though the West is terrible in the Big Ten, but if let's say they smoke Purdue, it's almost like that game didn't happen. Maybe they beat. But I agree with you. It's a house of cards. I don't understand these rankings. Chain is the Big Ten connoisseur, so I'm curious to hear his thoughts.
Yeah, this is complete BS. Like the fact that Michigan is ahead of Michigan State, like this is the BCS is what I should say. Like this is typical of them. They have rules until they want their own exceptions to make more money. And it continues to happen no matter what format you put it in. If it was the BCS poll versus now we're in the playoffs and they still control everything, and this is just a facade for everyone else. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. I completely disagree that Michigan is ahead of Michigan State. And Michigan is probably going to lose this weekend to Penn State. And then they should completely drop out of the top 10. Aside from that, the Michigan State loss, wow. Was anyone not surprised? No. I called it. I knew this is exactly what Purdue does. And they gave up 536 yards passing. I mean, that is incredible. 3 TDs. Aiden O'Connell was 40 for 50. 536 and 3 TDs. I mean, just lit their secondary up. I mean, it was typical Purdue. It is exactly what they do. Now, if you ask me, is Ohio State on upset alert this week because they play Purdue? I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. We're not playing in Purdue, which is a big factor there. They're coming off their one high a season, which they typically do, and they've had their joy. There's no way the boys can get up for this game. And don't tell me Ryan Day and Kerry Combs didn't study every single inch of that film and is preparing on how to defend that passing attack. So our defense has gotten much better as we progress through the season. I really feel, Vegas, maybe 20 points is a little fluffed. I call us by maybe 14, but I think we take Purdue down this week.
I just want to know, like, someone played devil's advocate. Like, how is Michigan ranked ahead of Michigan State? Like, they literally just played last week.
I know. And if head-to-head matters so much in these rankings, apparently everywhere except Michigan and Alabama is the only 2 places it does not matter.
Yeah,
2 big money schools, right?
I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, maybe the Big Ten's politicking to how to get someplace in, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. Ohio State's going to beat both of them anyways. And it's like, why, if you're on the committee, why discredit yourself for no reason? maybe if there's a reason to discredit yourself, maybe. But if there seems to be no reason, like just flip MSU and Michigan, and then it's fine. Like,
right. I agree with all their rankings except for that. It should be Michigan State, 7 or 6, whatever.
Yeah, Michigan 7. And that's it. Like, that's your simple.
Then it's a great ranking.
Controversy. None.
Right.
Like, you just move on.
What was the cause for that?
They're penalizing MSU for winning that game at home. And, if you look at Michigan, their best win is Wisconsin. Other than that, they had the dregs of the Big Ten. So I don't get it. They're basically saying.
Is there any truth to I understand? Because Michigan loss is to Michigan State. You just lost to Purdue. To me, Michigan losing to Michigan State is a lot less worse than Michigan State losing to Purdue. I don't think Oregon should be ranked ahead of Ohio State because I don't see that Ohio State losing to Oregon and Oregon losing to Stanford. I call the Stanford loss much worse than I do.
Well,
you want to take this one, Rob?
Let's put it as a chess game. If I play you, Randall, in chess and I beat you in chess, then I'm better than you at chess. If Brandon then somehow beats me at chess and he has a different philosophy, then he's better than my philosophy. But if Raj beats me or beats Brandon, well, we all have different philosophies, but we're each better than the other. Like, you can't turn around then and say, well, because he beat you, I'm better than you. No, I just beat you. Like, it just doesn't work.
Who's the better football team?
Oregon won in the shoe. That should be case closed there.
Oregon
Week 2, though. Week 2.
Hey, a win is a win.
You
I agree.
Punished.
But everyone knows this isn't a.
Hold on. Everybody's talking. All right. Here's my point. You lost to a 3-7 football team. Ohio State lost to a 9-1 football team. I'm taking blind resumes. I take the 9-1 over 3-7 every single time.
They weren't 3-7 when they played, and their quarterback was, I think, Tanner McKee was playing every game. I think he's been hurt.
They lost to Stanford, who is a bottom 10, bottom half conference team.
All right,
they weren't earlier in the year, though.
So Oregon, Ohio State, and so this is the most frustrating part. Is Oregon, Ohio State, the committee saying because head-to-head matters, Oregon's ahead of Ohio State. Well, that was week 2, but they're still saying that today. But Michigan, Ohio State, it just happened last week, and they're saying that doesn't matter. And
I
so
think the committee does have
hypocrisy that can't stand.
I think the committee does have it wrong. I think Ohio State ought to be ranked higher than Oregon.
I do too, because
I agree.
But you can't say head-to-head matters 7 weeks ago, and it doesn't matter a week ago. That's right.
Well, you look at the progression of college football, throughout history. I mean, teams evolve and get better, week by week. So you look at the body of work and the teams and the timing of what was going on. Yeah, Ohio State was a terrible team at that point, but granted, it was a signature win for Oregon. They won in the shoe, which it's a tough thing to do. But they lost to Stanford, who, like you said, 3-7 or whatever. And it baffles me that they go head to head with exceptions of Alabama and Michigan.
Well, who was Ohio State beating? I mean, I see a lot of teams with losing records. Their best win was Penn State, who's overrated.
Right.
Nebraska, IU, Rutgers, Akron, Tulsa, all, if I'm not mistaken, have losing records. Maryland, I think they have a losing record. Nope, they're 5-4, but 2-4 in conference. Why are they number 4? And if Ohio State won that game, let's say at Oregon or against Oregon, would Oregon be one slot behind them? The proof is in the pudding, and I see Oregon over Ohio State as the best win this year in college football. Another thing real quick is
you don't think A&M over Bama is the best win?
I don't think Bama is.
I mean, just by rankings?
I don't think Bama's as good as they normally are.
They were number one, and A&M wasn't even ranked.
So I love speculation.
How do
This
you
is
how do you
their,
say that Oregon over Ohio State was the greatest win in college football today?
I
I'm
said
saying
this last
this
week.
year,
All right, Robbie,
it's a non-conference
It's a
game on the
TV show.
road in a tough environment.
All right,
I
Robbie
think
Davis.
that's way more impressive than a conference matchup. And Bama's not that as good this year. I know they can do nothing wrong and still
Well,
be in
they're
the
number
playoff.
2.
Yeah, but it's bullshit.
Who have they?
It's just because they're
I mean,
Alabama.
Robbie Davis,
Listen.
what's your point there?
My point is what I said last week. It's a TV show, guys. Like
Yes,
they're setting it up for Alabama and Georgia to be in this, and that's how it's set up. Somehow, my prediction is Oregon's gonna lose to Utah, and Alabama, Georgia's gonna be close. If Georgia loses, obviously both are in. If Alabama loses close, they're probably in, and it's gonna be Ohio State. And Oklahoma's sitting there. They still have Baylor and Oklahoma State. They beat both those ranked teams. They're in, and it's the same 4 again. And TV ratings crush it. And sorry, Cincinnati, you're out again. Like
If I see Oklahoma over Oregon, I'll throw up.
Oregon's going to lose at Utah.
They will
Well-
lose. OU's 3 in the polls in the AP, and they're what, 8 in the rankings.
Yeah, they moved up
4 in
one
the
this week.
polls.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
I think. Well, we'll save that bit for later.
All right, one more question, you guys. Can you name the 3 undefeated football teams?
Georgia, Oklahoma,
Cincinnati.
There's a 4th one. I'm sorry.
Coastal
Not Wake
Carolina.
anymore.
Yep, they're still undefeated.
But their quarterback's dead. And
Nope, not this team. I just watched them. They're undefeated in the top 25.
No, but Grayson McCall, their quarterback, isn't he done for the year? And he's really good.
I can't remember. I don't know where he went.
No, I don't know. I guess I know the 4th one.
Texas San Antonio is undefeated.
Oh, the Skyrockets or something?
The Roadrunners. The
Roadrunners.
Roadrunners.
Skyrockets, Roadrunners, same thing. Same family.
Let's see if we can bring Raj back in. I may have to reset the server when I bring him back in.
Do you still have EUV?
I am doing this on, believe it or not, Verizon 5G, and it's much better than my internet. And we've been on Verizon 5G for several weeks.
Nice.
One other question before we get to college football while we're coming in. If you would look through the list, now, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to put on upset alert this week. Let's get Raj on before I put anybody on upset alert.
I've got some good ones here, boys.
So Texas San Antonio's quarterback is hurt. Raj?
Can't hear you, buddy.
I can leap read.
I can read your lips, but I can't hear you.
Coastal's
Hello?
quarterback. Am I there?
Yeah.
Yes. Coastal has lost.
Oh, my bad. Oh, yeah, UTSA.
Texas. Texas San Antonio is the other undefeated.
I got nothing
All right,
on
I'm going to
them.
put somebody on upset alert. Everybody get ready for this. Everybody put somebody on upset alert. And I don't know if I'm putting them on upset alert because I want them to lose so bad, but I want my preseason pick was Spencer Rattler to win the Heisman, Oklahoma to win the national championship, and I'm sick of hearing about them. Baylor beats Oklahoma. Robbie Davis next.
Mine's not near as dramatic as yours is.
I
think that I like Mississippi State going to the Plains, beating Auburn. It's a noon kickoff. I suspect Auburn's going to be a little down. The air raid is going to catch them off guard. So I like Mike Leach and Mississippi State, who should be a lot. They've lost some heartbreakers, including last week missing a field goal. I mean, they don't have a kicker, but he's doing some really good things there. So I like him going to Auburn and beating Auburn.
All right, Roger Meta, you're our man on the West Coast. I know you've got a game out there.
I was actually thinking pretty SEC style for once. By the way, I don't get when Alabama plays like New Mexico State or Chattanooga this second to last week. Get over yourself. Ole Miss is 15th. A&M is 11th. A&M's a 2.5-point favorite. I'll take Ole Miss in that game. I'm still not that impressed with A&M. And I think Tennessee, from what I've seen, is going to cover the 20, and that game's going to be closer than people expect. That is my thought on that game. As for the West
I have
Coast,
Tennessee on a 3-quarter upset alert because going into the third quarter, we'll be right with them, and then they'll pull away.
I'll bookie all of these bets y'all want to make on that game.
Do you got a third quarter line?
Oh, I mean, we've seen this movie before. Tennessee fans get hyped up. Oh, we're gonna do the upset, and then
No, I don't think we're going to pull the upset. I'm with you, Rod.
they're better
Brenda
though.
Jane. Don't hear you. You mute it.
COVID's on it, upset USC and Cal. They've already actually upset them. So
that's
the best West Coast matchup.
What's going on? So I totally agree. You stole my thunder a little bit with Baylor over Oklahoma. Love that one. That was my top one. Oklahoma is just complete garbage from what I've seen. They have won some tight games against some bad teams, repetitively. So my other big one would be Penn State over Michigan. Michigan, after that kick in the nuts, losing to Michigan State like that, Harbaugh's just trash, man. I mean, he's got to go. When are you going to just let the name go? And, they already restructured his contract, made it look like they extended it, but they offered him less money with incentives. He's not hitting any of those incentives this year. He'll be lucky if he makes like $2.5 million this year with his wins. Like, it's terrible. Penn State, Franklin's got something to prove. They're taking Michigan out. That's my upset.
All right, guys. I absolutely love this spirited talk. We are going to sidetrack to an area that I know nothing about. Probably one of the worst sports, but we cannot ignore it, that knowledge that I have. Quickly, and Robbie, you're definitely our guys there. The NBA is underway. Has anything occurred that is name-worthy or shocking so far?
Oh my gosh, with that tease, I thought we were talking about NASCAR. But
We will
NBA.
talk about NASCAR, though, I'm sure.
He said Raj. What the? That should have been your tip.
Oh, did he say Raj? Oh.
Yeah.
Both,
you don't
no, he
always
said
get
both
to go
of
first,
us.
Robbie.
No,
I
he said
thought he
both
said
of
Rob.
us. So
My
if he
bad,
asked
my
me
bad.
about NASCAR, then he's got problems because I'll be making shit up.
That's what
Go ahead.
That's what
No,
we
he said
call it,
both of
reckless
us.
Speculation.
He said both of us, Rob. So go ahead, please, on the NBA answering that first question.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising. I mean, the Lakers are going to struggle, but I mean, they're finding themselves. They always do this. Like, they still have LeBron and AD. They're going to get there. Golden State being 9-1, they're impressive. I think the big, I mean, it's just like the intrigue. What are the Sixers going to do? They have this talent, but they don't mesh together. What are they going to do with Simmons? And the Nets, low in the rankings. It's just the Bucks struggling also is kind of surprising. But overall, I mean, it's October, November in the NBA. There's not much you can gain from it. I mean, the Bulls are playing well. The Heat are playing well. Heat are well coached, and they usually always play well. Jazz, Mavericks, Grizzlies are doing okay, but yeah, I mean it's just NFL or NBA as usual at this point.
Yeah. First of all, the Lakers are 27th in the league in defense. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. They're aging. LeBron has missed the last 5 games, and they don't win when he's not playing. But yeah, I mean, they've looked old to me. But like you said, they'll be fine. Golden State is 9-1, and they're going to get better when Klay Thompson comes back, I think, because Jordan Poole, the kid from Michigan's averaging 18 points out of pretty much nowhere, almost 3 boards and almost 4 assists. I'm not intimating that he's a better shooter than Klay Thompson, but they play the same position. By the way, the 9-1 Warriors, they beat the Lakers, but they beat the Rockets, Pelicans, Hornets, Kings, and the Thunder twice. By the way, the Lakers have lost to the Thunder twice. So not exactly murderer's row there. Real quick, my boy Evan Mobley looks like so far the top rookie in the league. He's just NBA ready, especially in today's NBA, averaging 15 and 8. 7-footer with guard skills. And the Chicago Bulls are relevant again. DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic from Orlando, Zach LaVine, and then Lonzo Ball. 2 Trojans and 2 Bruins, which is kind of odd. They're fun to watch, man, and they're coming together. They haven't been relevant in God knows how many years. So those are kind of my storylines so far. But, yeah, it's so early.
It's been really tough for me to get into NBA because I've went so far into the NBA, Major League Baseball, that I completely missed that the NBA started. I mean, I was watching highlights the other night, and I thought they were still in preseason. So Robbie's on a break, but I was going to ask him. We'll come back. We'll ask him about NASCAR. It is last year's story, my Hawks deep run. Was the Hawks just on a good run last year? Because it looks like they've started this year kind of sputtering.
I think they're like
so.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I don't think so at all. I mean, they're a legit team, pretty well-rounded. I mean, Trae Young is an up-and-coming superstar, if he didn't prove that last year. It's early. They play so many games. I would not worry about them whatsoever.
Started 4-8, but last year they struggled early too.
Yeah, man. They've lost 5 in a row. They were 4-3. They're now 4-8. Ironically enough, or oddly enough, they're like the Bulls. Last year, they put together a team full of dudes from other, Bogdanovich, Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, Clint Capella. They all came together and they made that run. I think they'll do the same. Lou Williams hasn't been his usual self as a 6-man. Gallinari's already missed some games. And then Bogdanovich missed some games. And then let's not forget, my boy Okongwu has been hurt. He hasn't played at all. And defensively, the guy's a monster. He was the number 7 or 8 pick overall for a reason. They're going to be fine, man. They're talented and deep.
Yeah. I got to say one thing before Rob jumps in. It's like any sport. I mean, you can equate this to pretty much all of them. It takes time when you bring in all these new chess pieces, and there's a lot of talent on a team, and everyone wants the ball, everyone wants to be the hero, and it takes a long time to get that team to really gel and figure out their space and their spot on that team and what best fits that team. Obviously good coaches fast track that, but sometimes it takes the players themselves to evolve and actually work together and get some more playing time. So you can equate that, like I said, to any sport. Basketball is probably the number one sport you can do that for sure.
Well said.
You've got to have that playing time together. Know where you're going to be. Know where that cut's going to happen. Know where that out is. It just takes time. So this early in the season, I mean, this is still like preseason. So you can't I mean, these numbers are, nothing to me.
And I mean, this just goes back to the argument like the NBA season's too damn long. And it shouldn't be going on right now. Like it's
preseason.
It's so back burner behind. Like Turner TBS just said they're no longer playing Thursday night basketball games, NBA games, because they're getting killed by the NFL. Oh, really? Like I was a marketing major back in college, but I've never worked in television. But I can tell you that's what's going to happen. You go against the NFL. So I mean, start at Christmas, on Christmas. Play these games that no one cares about when the NFL playoffs are going on, and then hit the ground running. But this is just stupid basketball right now.
Yeah, man. And to Rob's point, a guy like Kobe Bryant, real quick, he played 20 years or whatever it was. The playoffs are super long. He had another 4 seasons worth of playoff games. That's a lot on their legs, man. I mean, they could definitely shorten that season and the playoffs, do a wild card type thing. I mean, it is basketball, but maybe you can do 2 out of 3. It used to be a best of 5 in the first round.
Yes.
And then the Nuggets beat Seattle, and then that wasn't fair, and they changed it to 7. It's too long, man. And I love basketball, but the playoffs, I'm like, just wake me up when it's a conference championship.
I agree. Look at the longevity you could have in some of your superstars that people love to watch if you would just cut the seasons down so much. The miles on those tires would get so much less. You could probably get another 2 or 3 years out of them if you would just stop this craziness.
I think LeBron's been in the league for 17 years. He's been in the finals 9 times, and
that's why he's set out 5 games straight right now.
That's stacked on him, and he's played the Olympics.
And then the whole COVID thing where they had a short year, he had to show up in 2 months or whatever.
Well,
I mean, that was terrible.
Off season. Yeah.
My wife gets on me that I'm just a sheep to the NFL's master, but they do it right. Hey, NFL, your quarterback's your moneymaker. What they do, you can't touch them. They don't get hurt. You can play till 45 now because you don't get hurt. What does NFL do or NBA do? Hey, run you up and down. Keep going. Play more, run you down. No one's watching right now. No one's watching.
Back-to-back games are the worst thing NBA does to their players.
Yeah. By the way, LeBron's – sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the host. LeBron's played 266 playoff games and counting. That's that's more than 3 seasons additional. Kobe was 220, almost 3 seasons. Dude.
That's just stupid.
That's on their legs, and they're superstars, like Rob said.
I know.
You want to market them or kill them?
Well, guys, before we move on, though, we got one more sidebar we're going to take here real fast. And I do appreciate the NBA catching me up a little bit. ESPN actually said the most exciting sporting event Saturday was the NASCAR championship. Robbie, you are in-house NASCAR expert. Was it truly the great race that ESPN made it into?
So I have my 2 TVs set up outside. Titans didn't play till Sunday night, so I had Red Zone on one and the race on the other. And which isn't an odd setup for me. I usually have that going on. But I turned the volume down from Red Zone and turned the volume up on NASCAR.
Now that's on.
It was exciting. It was strategic. It was luck. There was pit drama. So I've ended up, while I have been on Kyle Larson all year long, I ended up taking greater odds for Denny Hamlin. And it was pure pit drama. Hamlin was he pitted early. There was a wreck, caution. Literally, if you don't know the rules, so you have to pass a certain line for the lead lap. It was probably 0.2 seconds. Hamlin left the pit before Lawson passed, so Hamlin kept on the lead lap. Then they're going around. I'm like, okay, I'm in good shape. $1,500 on the line. Hamlin, they all go in for a pit one more time. I was hoping they'd go for just fuel or do or die. They all went in for a pit. Larson had his pit crew. Oh my gosh, has the best pit probably of the season. Gets him out of there, 4 tires, everything changed. Gets him out of there. He wins 3 positions and then leads on to victory. It was intense. It was exciting. All while Chase Elliott, who's been the second best driver all year long, was in there. Those are teammates. And then so you had Elliott and Hamlin for Hendrick Motorsports, who Larson and Elliott, Hendrick Motorsports, they ended up winning again. And then you had Hamlin and Truex Jr., who are Joe Gibbs Motorsports, or Joe Gibbs Racing. So 2 icons of the game, and just a head-to-head battle. It was exciting. If you guys didn't see it, you should have watched it. And Daytona's February 22nd, starting to speak back again.
So in 2022, watch for the Robbie Davis racing half-hour show to be appearing on River City Network. I actually think it needs to happen.
Yeah. So one little small comment on that. What people don't understand about racing, I know most people think it's just cars driving around laps in a circle and it's repetitive, but it's actually a pretty well thought out chess match, almost like the pitching game in baseball. It's very similar. There's a lot of behind the scenes that goes into it with racing on laps, as far as tires, 2 tires, fuel only, how far, there's so much thought that goes into it. So it's actually not just a dumb redneck sport. It is actually very intellectual and very well thought out. So,
And
if you commit to watching a season of races, I promise you will be a fan.
So I used to be a fan all the way through college. Like I would go to Daytona, Talladega. Like I know about the whole story. I just, for some reason lost interest. Just, as like I did kind of in baseball, somewhat MLB for a while. But, I might jump back on that train. I did watch most of that race, and it was pretty entertaining. I had a little money on the line as well, and Larson took it home.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. The Robbie Davis racing now half hour with Brandon Chain, it sounds like. But
yeah.
I did flip over to watch the last 2 laps. That's how much attention it got from me. The last couple of laps I watched. So, we moving on. Trying to get in a 90-minute show here. We got.
I was just like, I don't even care enough to comment.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of who's that idiot Jeff Foxworthy? You're a redneck when you got Red Zone on one TV and the race on the other. You're sitting outside.
Robbie,
that's
you should work for NASCAR so badly.
Hey, I would love to work for NASCAR. My career goal now is to get to be 45. I'm going to take a year off of work. I'm getting a Sprinter van, and I'm traveling the NASCAR circuit.
Nice.
You just need to live to 45. That should be your goal, first of all.
1A and 1B,
All right, guys, moving on to our next subject here on reckless speculation. And I'm about to throw somebody on the bus with some reckless speculation. Scott Boras said today that the Atlanta Braves championship was the most bought championship ever, I guess. His point is, Scott Boras, who's inflated salaries in baseball for years, his point is that the Braves put together a team for next to nothing of people with expiring contracts. And he felt like that was almost unfair to the teams with the larger payrolls, the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Blue Jays and some of the other teams that had spent the money up front. The Braves, however, he's like, you have a team halfway through the year, 4-game under, they go out and they trade nothing, and they get 4 All-Stars back and win the World Series. How's that competition? How do you construct a championship team now? Is it different in each sport? We're watching the Kansas City Chiefs literally explode at times. We are seeing the Rams who have sold their future. If I can find a futures bet on the Los Angeles Rams 3 years from now, under 5 wins, I'll take it. Is championship lineups built different? Rod, you're a baseball guy. Was what the Braves done not to the spirit of the game?
I think that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I did too.
Big money doesn't matter. It's who's healthy, who's hot. You know, anybody can technically get expiring contracts. I mean, depending on the payroll and depending on what you give up. Now, that being said, the Braves they caught lightning in a bottle. It was magic. Soler, those 4 guys, Rosario, they're never going to hit 500 again. I don't think they're going to pay maybe half those guys. Jock Peterson already opted out because this is the only time he's ever going to get paid. Soler, the same thing. Rosario. Yeah,
Austin Ball opted out.
Exactly. And the Braves, I mean, I thought it was one of the best GM jobs of all time of any sport, not just baseball, to penalize them for getting expiring contracts in a sense is just the dumbest. Again, I'll get fined, but the dumbest shit I've ever heard. That was a miracle job, and I'm thoroughly impressed.
Robbie, these guys that are opting out, Jock Peterson, $7 million, Austin Duvall, $8 million. They also get buyouts. So Austin Duvall opted out of his contract and got $3 million in cash, and now he's a free agent. To me, that's smart management by Austin Duvall.
Well, yeah, let me just take a step back. Scott Boras said that getting people on the cheaps is cheating baseball.
Yes.
That's the most self-serving comment, or at least one of the most self-serving comments I've ever heard. And no, I mean, Billy Bean's been doing this for years and years and years. Like, this is how you win. Like, you either have a huge payroll or you get deals and you get bargains and you outsmart other teams. It's kind of what I try to do in fantasy, but not much. But yeah, no.
That subject is going to be that.
Scott Boras.
We called it competitive cancer.
Yeah,
we called it competitive cancer that teams unloading veterans to accumulate draft picks, and the Braves title was a consequence of that, of tanking inadvertently.
It's an idiot. It's an idiot statement by him, and it's just saying, "Hey, I don't want my players traded for cheap." Well, sorry, that's how the game goes.
Exactly. That's
so,
all.
I mean, this is not worth any more words than that's an idiotic statement, and he's just wrong, and he's sorry that he can't make money off of this.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they made a movie about this. Like, literally, like they gave you the entire playbook on how to do the major leagues. Like, I don't understand why people are complaining about this. Like, good on the Braves. They were smart. It was all a timing issue. It happened. They lost some of their good players. They had some room. Why do you fault them? And then these guys turn out to be, like you said, all-stars. And then don't fault those guys for opting out, trying to get paid. They just won the World Series. Pay those men their money. Like, I'm all good with that.
You know what? Scott Boras is probably on the phone with the Atlanta general manager being like, "Hey, you want me to get you an interview with the Yankees?" Like,
exactly.
No.
Yeah, like, just all greed. Like, yeah, he outsmarted the people. He outsmarted his peers. Yes.
It was knowledge and opportunity and timing all came together in a perfect storm. And then you created magic, like Rob said. And then the Braves just catch fire and they never went out. Like, it was unbelievable to watch. One of my favorite World Series, aside from the Cubs. Just amazing. So, I mean, like you said, this guy deserves no other words. Like, just don't be stupid.
Yeah, just
Like,
By the
what
way-
are you talking about?
The CBA expires December 1st. So as if he's not politicking. But yeah, that's all I had
right.
to say. What a
Yeah.
jerk off.
Yeah. It's like Jimmy Sexton being like, "Oh, college football coaches don't get paid enough." Like, yeah,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
saying I don't get paid enough. Like, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
By the
Randall,
way,
you
real quick,
back with us? Sorry,
Adam
go ahead, guys.
Anderson turned himself in to police, the Georgia linebacker. As of 8:30, he's been charged with felony rape, and he turned himself in.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he has denied the allegation through his attorney, but it's not
Turned
like
himself
I'd
in
expect him to, into police to, start the process. So he's a hell of a player, but
Yeah, he's their
it's
best
gonna-
linebacker, right?
Yeah.
And
this
just
is
shortly, the lady, I think her name was Rachel, maybe, that asked us a question last week about the firearm in Ruggs III's car. Yes, it is a aggravating crime in Nevada,
Sure.
and he is now facing
3
50
felonies,
years.
right?
Yeah, so yeah, they've got him. Yeah, he's facing 50 years in prison now.
What do you think actual what he'll get?
Guys,
like
I've got to
20
take a phone
years,
call. I'll be
25
right
years?
back.
You're good.
Okay,
we got it, Randall.
We'll chit chat. This is reckless speculation. Without
Like
saying-
you've seen, I know, but you've seen juries and you've seen situations.
well,
Like what?
So
Stallworth got like 3 months, by the way.
Yeah, so a jury in this kind of case, a jury will convict or acquit, and then that's the end of their job. They say guilty or not guilty,
Right. And it goes
and
to
then it
sentencing.
goes to the judge for sentencing. So that's out of the jury's purview. So the judge then sentences, but they have guidelines. So if he gets, say he gets 3 out of the 5 felonies, you can only do a minimum, say 10 years. Basically, though, based on what I know now, and this is obviously not knowing both sides of the story, just what we read in the press. His career as a NFL player is over. Unfortunately, his life may be over. I mean, not over as in dead, but I mean, he's not going to spend his life in prison. But
Right.
It's tragic all the way around.
He's going to be right.
It will. I would say probably somewhere between 15 and 20 years, which will put him.
That's what I was thinking.
In his put him at
35,
45, 42-ish. Yeah. In such a
God-given talent, man.
tragic preventable accident.
Exactly.
Not an accident.
Tragic
It's
all
not
the
an
way
accident.
around.
It's a preventable event. It's not an accident.
Right.
It's a preventable event.
Right. That there was malice behind that. I mean, as far as intent to drive, knowing and willingly. That's just, yeah. I don't know. We've had that conversation. It's unfortunate. It really is.
There was a video, by the way.
Did
you guys see the video of his
of
car?
him just flying by
Residential,
that
just
ring
flying
camera?
down the dude. What a dumb shit. I mean,
Well, hey,
it's
Raj, why'd they release the cornerback they signed? I mean, that draft class is a disaster.
Mayock is such an idiot. They just throw away first-round picks. They pick Cleveland Farrell, who, again, I told you, made me sick at number 4, second-round grade. Arnett, the Ohio State kid that Shane knows well, he never, I heard he wasn't a good practice kid. He kept getting hurt, but then this last time he had an Instagram Live where he had like an Uzi or some kind of automatic rifle. It's like, man, for real, I'll kill
Just so stupid.
I'll kill somebody. Yeah, makes it public to the world. Talk about how he'll murder somebody with like an automatic weapon. Like, what are you going to gain by that? And the guy's on the injured list as well. I think the Raiders too. They are in the headlines for the wrong reasons, and they're setting examples. And not like that guy should keep his job, but yeah, they're just tossing dudes left and right, rightfully so.
While we're on idiots, shall we talk about Aaron Rodgers? Have we touched on that yet?
We have not. Let's do it.
Dildo.
Brandon, what do you think about Aaron?
Aaron, he reminds me of a guy that's like on some sabbatical in like a Neverland that's like he's got incense burning and, you know, he's got this feng shui going on, or he's just an idiot, man. Like, what are you doing? How do you, and if you go back and listen, it's kind of dumb on us saying I'm immunized instead of vaccinated. That was it was a well thought out thing. I mean, he's a cerebral guy. He's a smart guy. Don't get me wrong. That was a planned statement. He knew he was going to be faced with it, and it blew over like, you know, nothing. So then now, you know, this comes out, and then come to find out he sent over 500 pages of, you know, masks and anti-vax and like all this stuff. Regardless of your position, you know, you're an employee of the NFL, and they have certain stipulations. You can choose not to be an employee of the NFL and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Just like
and the NFL and the NFLPA all agreed to this.
Correct.
This is not
the PA. Exactly.
Yeah,
The PA
this is not we're forcing this on you. We all agreed upon this.
This is exactly. And to, you know, skate through the shadows and, you know, be clever with your media. It's just, I mean, this guy should be fined and should be in trouble for this. Yeah. Potentially.
I'm gonna go to Raj real
now,
quick about this, and then I'm gonna come back to the fine and what they did, and is this enough or not? Raj, what are your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers?
It's not enough. He's getting superstar treatment. Mike Chang says he is in his own world. He is arrogant and condescending. He thinks he's better than everyone else. More irony is that Cal Berkeley is probably the most liberal school in the country. Rodgers went there. Rodgers is unvaccinated, and Cal is not playing USC because 20 dudes got COVID. Now, they claim most of them were vaccinated, but I doubt it. But you're right. This is a totally different, you know, players union in the NFL and whatnot. I think he finally he admitted, I may have misled people. What a jerk. Like, he should have been suspended.
I may have
he's getting
cheated.
superstar
I'm not
treatment.
sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Ryan Braun excuse. But no, I mean, they're just letting him skate, and he's going to be able to play. He's going to be back in the facility from what I'm hearing as of Saturday. It's not like he needs to practice that much. It's going to be very little consequence whatsoever.
You know why? Because it's Aaron Rodgers, and this again is a TV show that generates income. And if Aaron Rodgers is not on the field,
so they fined the Packers $300,000, which is literally nothing.
Laughable.
And even more nothing, they fined Aaron Rodgers $15,000, which to most of us
10 seconds.
It would be like $2. Like, hey,
yeah,
if not less than that. And
it's just such a joke.
Where is Goodell's heavy hand? Like, this has been his thing. Like he's the power commissioner, and how do you not come down and say, hey, 5 games? Like not only it's one thing to lie to the media. Okay, that's one thing. But they have strict protocol. Like, if you are not vaccinated, you have to wear a mask on the sidelines. You can't be in team facilities without a mask. By all accounts, he violated all of that. And, like, to let him off from $15,000.
Yeah.
No, you have to go in. What he fined Brady or suspended Brady 4 games for football, and that's just a football manipulation. Aaron Rodgers endangered people and endangered their employees and endangered everyone around them. And regardless what you think of the vaccine or not, but yeah, like you guys said, they collectively bargained that. And so if my employer said, and my employee and all of us agree that we have to be vaccinated or follow protocol, and I lie and I don't do that, I would be fired, not fined.
Yeah.
Fired.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but
Hey.
so on the whole Goodell thing, Goodell is nothing but a puppet for the owners. All he does, he's a bulletproof shield that gets out there and talks to the media and says this is what we're going to do. The owners vote on this stuff, and Goodell just goes out and speaks. That's been the case for 15 years now.
But that's what makes it even crazier to me is that the Packers don't have an owner. They have shareholders and a CEO. Like there's no Robert Kraft
But it comes down to revenue. You got to look at a team that's going to Green Bay and playing on a Monday night, how much revenue their team's going to generate.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? It's just it's all dollars. It always comes down to money.
But ESPN's already fronted that bill.
Hey guys, I hate to jump back in, but I was actually going to surprise y'all with this subject and ask you a couple of questions, but it looks like y'all got it under control.
Can I make two quick points on Goodell real quick? Number one, the NFL has reportedly withheld 100,000 emails and communication responses that they've deemed as private. John Gruden called Goodell a PUSSY and an a-hole. Suddenly, his communications and correspondences are no longer protected. That's being a hypocrite. But most importantly, suddenly Goodell was backing Black Lives Matter and standing with the protesters. What about Colin Kaepernick? 4 or 5 years ago, he essentially ostracized him, banned him, ruined his career, and now suddenly he's part of the movement for social justice. The guy is a hypocrite. He is a puppet, and he is what John Gruden called him. But those are the 2 points that, when I think of him, immediate hypocrisy that come to my mind.
A rich puppet, though. A rich puppet. I mean,
Jesus.
And Randall, give me 10 seconds. I'll let you talk. Hey, NFL, you pay Roger Goodell $40 or for $400 million a year to do his job. I'll do it for $10 million. I will sit up there and be a clown for $10 million a year. That's $30 million in all of y'all's pockets. You divide it up. I will do this job.
So, another breaking story is Odell Beckham has gotten a qualifying offer. And I believe it's to the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, God.
So, that'll add a little intrigue to that whole Green Bay if he signs there, will it not? Does Odell Beckham make the Green Bay better?
No. He makes them more of a distraction. Like
That's for sure.
They're 7-1, 6-2, and you're going to bring a distraction. I mean, Odell Beckham hasn't really been that great throughout his NFL career. He's had some moments, but it's more highlights than anything.
Since leaving New York.
It is a shiny red ball, though, like for Rodgers. Hey, look at ODB.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about me over here. Look at this guy.
I think it's more distraction and I mean Green Bay's good. They're championship caliber. Without him, I don't know why you need to add him. Rodgers has shown his whole career he can play. He can make anyone really good.
That's true, but you got to look at Odell's one of the top receivers in the league we've seen last decade for sure. He's got some shoulder problems right now. Him and Mayfield just didn't vibe well. It was pretty evident. I think if he gets in the right system, what is he, 30 years old, slightly injured. I think if he gets in the right system, it could work. I agree. I don't know if Green Bay is the right fit just because there's so much attention going on right there. Do they need another distraction? Probably not. But they've got Devontae. Could he be a nice number 2 fit in there? Absolutely. I I think he could draw some attention, maybe get a little more one-on-one time with Devontae or himself. And, he's not the deep threat guy that he used to be, but he's definitely better than Randall Cobb. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily disagree. I think they offered him league minimum for a veteran,
Yes.
which is a steal. I would tell the Titans to do the same. I mean, I'd love to have him come in when Julio's out or whatever for league minimum. I mean, why not throw a flyer out there?
Yep. All right, guys. We're running out of time quickly, and I want to try a new segment. So we've called the show Reckless Speculations and Twisted Thoughts today. We'll have our regular Bet the Nuts. I want to blindly, off the top of your head, each one of you offer a reckless speculation about your fantasy team. And let's start with Robbie Davis. What's your reckless speculation about your fantasy team?
Well, so luckily, there's not much luck that goes on in this league, but luckily, I'm in a division with the three biggest idiots in the league. So I've got Lenny, Clipper, and Blake. And so while my team is 3-6 right now, I'm still only 2 games back. And so I can swingle back in this and then get a playoff game, and then I'm all in it. I've got lineup hell this week. I promise I'm only drafting best available next year and not doing any of this crazy.
Rob,
You're
Rob, what round did you draft a running back?
Well,
6.
So I'll give the viewers a quick rundown about the no running back strat. We have a 12-team league. It's a PPR league. If these guys had any damn sense, they would just draft 2 running backs, which leaves 24 running backs. So I have 8 of the top 32, and so I get 2 of those with the best wide receivers. Now you mix a little Jack Daniels, a little Goff, a little whatever into this, and your decision making gets a little blurry. And I ended up picking wide receivers from the same team, the same 2 teams, over and over and over again. So I messed that up. But it's going to be perfected next year. But anyways, what was the question again? Your regret from fantasy football or your prediction?
Yes, your reckless speculation about the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to beat Clay, Blake, and Lanier. They suck. So I'll be in the playoffs, and then we'll start navigating from there.
All right. So, Robbie, do you feel in your heart that you're going to make the playoffs?
Did you just hear who I said I'm playing? Blake, Lanier, and Clay. Yes, I've got them beat.
All right. The rest of us are in the same division, so we can't talk bad about each other.
Y'all's division sucks.
We all are above 3-6, though. Now, give us that.
Wow.
So we'll start with Brandon Chain, who lost a heartbreaker to me this week, thanks to Najee Harris. So, Jane, you've been on a slide. This is what, 5 in a row?
Yeah, it's not looking good for the money ball, So my first round pick's doing great. My second and third round pick. Second round pick is now less than splitting carries, and my third round pick I dropped and is on someone else's team right now. So that is where we're at. We are a hodgepodge of Elijah Moores and Kurtz and Emmanuel Sanders, and it's a piecemeal decision time. Claypool's in there. It's rough.
You have a 4% chance to make the playoffs. 4.
Yeah. I was going to give myself a 0%, but I'm thankful for the 4.
You're gonna be in Waffle House.
My team. Oh no, I won't be dead last. But I'll be second or third to last because Robbie's going to be dead last.
There was a point in this league not long ago I was dead last. I weigh 330 pounds. I thought I could eat my way out of Waffle House.
Do you
issue a credit of 1 hour for every waffle, right?
Right. But do you remember you brought in your buddy who said who was going to win the league, like after our draft and all that stuff, and he picked me to win the league. Oh, how were we both wrong? Like this is the worst fantasy team I've ever had since I've started fantasy. And when I started back in 2004, I drafted nothing but Titans. Like this is so bad.
And you still almost beat me, so I don't know
I
what
know.
that says.
It's bad, Randall. I just hope to not be in Waffle House. That's all I can say.
Raj, at the top of our division, with a head-to-head with second-place Randall this week. Are you feeling confident?
No. I don't know what I was thinking, man. Like, I went against every philosophy. I know I was about to have back surgery, but, dudes that are on the downslope of their career, Zeke, could have had Jonathan Taylor. DeAndre, could have had anybody. Chris Carson, what was I thinking? Myles Gaskin, coin flip, whether he's going to get 0 or 8 points. I have no idea what I was thinking, dude. I don't even want to go and look back. I don't know how my team beat yours before. And Randall, if this was real football, your ass would have been fired because your team is loaded, and there's no reason why you should be 4-5 with Lamar, Dalvin, Najee McLaurin, Thielen. Damian Harris, Javonte, Zach Moss. You got dudes. You got numbers everywhere. I'd say your team's one of the best. So, like I said, if this was real
Totally
NFL
agree.
for your underperformance, your ass would have been fired. I'd still consider it.
Randall's the Jeff Fisher of fantasy football.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can go
30 years
and make the
in.
playoffs every year.
Yes.
That's it.
He's the
finally got
winningest
it.
and losingest coach of all time in fantasy. He's both.
And I lose to Lenny every year in the playoffs. Lenny, 3 years in a row, I've lost to Lenny in the playoffs.
I've lost him in the championship the last 3 years or 2 years. I think.
Yeah, I was the year
like
before that.
I was going to comment to Robbie about us drafting running backs. I had so many running backs this week, I had to cut one so I had to cut my backup quarterback so I could have enough wide receivers to play. So I only have one quarterback, and I have 6 wide receivers and 5 running backs at this point.
How many quarterbacks can you start, Randall?
1.
Exactly.
1. And
That's all you need.
Jackson. Hey, if you got Lamar Jackson, you only have to have one quarterback. But I will throw a dig at Dave. I did beat him with Daniel Jones as my quarterback. How many people this year can say they won a fantasy game with Daniel Jones at quarterback?
Not many.
I had.
How many people have Daniel Jones as a quarterback?
Not many.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know what your second.
It's like how many people can say they went to space in a rocket this year?
Oh, my
Hey.
God.
Bezos.
All right, guys.
We have
Can
derailed.
we do like a quick segment on Titans game? Like
Yeah.
how epic that was?
Oh, no. Let's get the Titans.
For real, like what was going on? First off, NFL Sunday. That was the craziest NFL Sunday that I've ever seen. Like underdogs were killing it all day long. I lost everything bet-wise all day until we collaborated on our text group, got together, and we're like, well, hell, it's the NFL. The way the day's going, the Titans are going to win. Let's just put it on the money line.
Yep.
And we did. And how dominant was that? Four-man rush, by the way. 4-man rush from the Titans that just dominated the Rams. Raj, what do you think about that? Like, how impressive was that defensive stand?
The Rams look soft, man. They looked like the old college football Pac-12 West Coast rhetoric. I've said this before. Danico Autry was on the Raiders. They found him. They gave him up. He went to Indianapolis. They gave him up. Good God. He was a monster. I thought there were like 8 of them. Defensively, the Rams were helpless. And the final was 28-16. It wasn't anywhere near that. I mean, it probably should have been 35-0. I was so impressed. Jeffrey Simmons, and another great draft pick, a guy that they knew wasn't going to play his first year, 18th overall out of Mississippi State. Unbelievable dude, like just murdering people. I couldn't believe it. Now, I did think I picked Tennessee to cover. Did I think they would just destroy the Rams and make them look like a bunch of wusses? No. But good God, man, that was some impressive stuff. You almost forgot Derrick Henry isn't out for the year. The defense was going to carry him.
Yeah, right. So, Robbie, what do you think? People say that because of Henry's out, we don't really have a chance. After that stand, rushing 4 most of the time. All right. So Danico Autry and Simmons just dominated that game. But, give credit to Jayon Brown and Harold Landry as well. That front 7 really took care of business there. But to actually rush 4 that efficiently, people rush 4 in the NFL all the time, but it's not necessarily efficient. I think that's the biggest difference in our defense right now is that we are rushing 4 and we're getting pass rush like we're rushing 6. Like it's a big difference there. What?
Anybody notice the Falcons beat the Saints?
No.
Kinda.
So just a dominant factor in what we did on offense. What do you think as far as people saying that was just an off night for the Rams versus Titans beat the Rams, legitimately?
Right. So I'm going to go short term and long term. Short term, I think that the NFL was kind of put on notice that this is a Titans standalone game against a Rams Super Bowl, I wouldn't say favorite, but semi-favorite team. And Vrabel schemed them perfectly. And to rush, that is the formula, almost the only formula in the NFL. Can you get 4 to rush the passer and stop the run and let everyone go and further pass? If you cannot do that, it's a pick you apart. So they showed they can do that. The defense is from week 1 to week 9, tremendous growth on what they are comprehending and what they're doing. So that's small term. Big picture, long term, Mike Vrabel has to be at least sitting in his office and not exactly because you can't imagine the heights that Bill Belichick went through. But you can look at your division and say, oh my God, doesn't this remind me of the AFC East when we were there? Jacksonville's a train wreck. Houston's a train wreck. Indy's not a train wreck. They just don't have a core. They don't have the pieces there. So this division, you keep this core intact. This is a division that you could dominate for the next decade. And what New England did in the AFC East. So you got to be looking at this and being like, hey, maybe we can do this. We don't have Tom Brady, but we have enough pieces to put together, and we're better than them. And that's all it takes in the NFL. Be better than the rest of the guys. You get home playoff games, you get a little luck, and you're in.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, go ahead, Raj.
No, I was just going to say, it's not like the Rams' offensive line was terrible. I looked it up, and they're tied for 3rd in least amount of sacks allowed in the league. It says they have 13 through 9 games. To me, that tells me they were probably the least amount allowed in the entire league prior to last week because the Titans had 5. Autry and Simmons had 4.5. So I'd venture to say they probably had allowed the least amount of sacks in the entire NFL going into that game. Minnesota, Tampa, Buffalo, they're all around right there. And not exactly the most mobile quarterback either. So that tells you their line has done a hell of a job. Great receivers, but no running game. People should be teeing off. And the Titans were the first team to do it. And those 2 dudes, man, I mean, 4.5 sacks. I think that's more than the Raiders have as a team. I was speechless. I really was. That looked like a championship defense.
I was playing a little bit earlier because everybody knows I'm a Falcons fan. That I've heard the Titans' big win all week, and I do agree. I watched that, and I don't know if the Titans rallied the troops. I am looking for every train to jump off the track for the Titans. So let's see this week, but somebody rallied the troops, considering that you're playing without arguably, to me, the best player in the NFL, which is Derrick Henry. And playing what I would consider the best team in the NFL without the best player. So,
one quick thing, and then Robbie, I'll let you go real quick. This is a credit to Mike Vrabel and the staff. Like, they've been through 72 players on this team, which they don't complain or talk about injuries and what they've been through to get here, but it has been one of the greatest coaching and next man up NFL teams that I've seen in quite some time. And they fill the spots. And this defense, which started out suspect, secondary, we weren't really sure about linebackers. We get a few players on the offense or defense as far as rushing and on the front. Then D'Amico Autry and Simmons, I mean, that's a 2-man record. Like, that was just so impressive watching. Anyway, we got Christian Fulton coming back. He was at practice this week. I look nothing but the defense to get better. And, losing Derrick Henry, I said last week it's going to be a run by committee. I think the identity is still going to be there as far as run first. Julio's back healthy. AJ, offensive line's playing well. I think things are looking up for the Titans right now.
Right now, do you consider the Titans a Super Bowl contender?
100%.
Robbie?
Absolutely. And if there is a nuance in the rules, Vrabel is second to only Bill Belichick of finding it out and how to exploit it. And those things matter as the competition gets closer. And
absolutely.
Into, hey, we're even matched. Vrabel, these rules and the nuances matter.
It's those little details that makes the cut. I mean, 100% agree.
He beat Bill Belichick on it. Was like some crazy punt delay. I can't remember. You remember what it was, Brandon? Though,
right.
It was some delay a game punt rule.
And Belichick was throwing his, he was putting his hoodie over his head and throwing his microphone like he was pissed. He got beat at a chest match.
Beautiful.
I hate to cut. We have to head to the Bet Your Nuts segment because
All right.
We're pushing 1 hour right now as we sit here, or 100 minutes. So let's get out of here before 100 minutes. So let's start with our best bets. Bet Your Nuts. Let's start with my favorite West Coaster, my favorite Las Vegas Raider, and my favorite Dodger fan. Raj, hit me with your best bet of the week.
And my favorite Indian, but you only know one of each of those things. So I just happen to be the lucky
I
lucky
could have
winner.
went there, but I didn't want to sound racist.
What? Speaking of the Raiders, it's like the Falcons. Nobody cares about our teams, Randall. They
We're
almost doubled.
4-4 and won 2 of 3 without Calvin Ridley. So I'll throw that back at you, Titans fans.
Yeah, we're 5-3.
Of course, it's hard.
We lost to the Giants because Derek Carr threw a pick 6 and another pick. It was just one of those ugly West Coast to East Coast games. It was pathetic. Just when you start to think, and last week in the NFL, the Titans were big dogs. They showed up and smacked the Rams. Last week, all the dogs, if every game I picked, the opposite actually happened. So getting to bet your nuts, I was thinking about the Raiders, actually the Chiefs at 2.5, but Kansas City, the line sucks and they can't run the ball, but it's still the Raiders and they end up beating them. But now I was looking at Green Bay and Seattle because Green Bay is only like a 3-point favorite, but we don't know. Russell and Aaron Rodgers could be playing. So I'm going to get in before these two nerds. And even though no one expects them to, I'll take the Titans 3 points against the Saints at home. Trevor Siemian is still Trevor Siemian. I don't care what the numbers say. And even though they may be, a classic letdown game, any given Saturday, as the Jaguars proved last week, I think, it's one thing when your offense is carrying you. It's another thing when your defense is. And I will take the Titans and 3 at home. They should win by 7-10. Got it.
All right.
First.
The Saints are not a good football team with Trevor Siemian. So it's hard for the Falcon fan to even be excited about beating them. All right, I'll go next because I don't think nobody's going to steal mine. I feel like Vegas is sucking me in right now. I feel like they're teasing me. And something has to be wrong with this game. It can't be this easy. I'm going to take Auburn, Mississippi State over 50 points. Give me two what I consider pretty good offenses in a SEC shootout game. Give me Auburn, Mississippi State over 50. All right, Brandon. No one gets to go last on Bet Your Nuts except Robbie Davis. So, because he always gives us his NASCAR picks. So nobody.
All good.
They all waited on him. So.
All good. So
on your first week, you done well, man.
So my last week, what did I pick? The Vols to beat Kentucky. That was my Bet Your Nuts last week. And what happened? That happened. So I'm gonna stick right there in this Vols game here. Vols, Georgia. I'm gonna go Tennessee Vols team total over 17.5.
I like that.
Bet your nuts on that.
Like that.
This is going to be a lot closer, like Raj said earlier, than you think. And I also, my second kind of quasi bet your nuts would be the actual over 56. But if you're going to pick one, go Tennessee team total over 17.5.
I like that.
Nice.
Robbie, who's going to win the 22 NASCAR championship?
Well, we'll tease that for later.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Whoa.
So, ladies and
Pump
gentlemen,
them brakes.
ladies and gentlemen, this is when you get rich in Vegas. You have the NFL and you have college football going on at the same time. The two most popular sports in America, the two most wagered on sports in America. So what do? You take it down a notch and you go to where they're not paying attention. And so what you have to do is go second half college basketball lines. And I wrote this. I'm not kidding. You can't read my writing, but I wrote down I would bet second half of the FSU game. Pennsylvania's keeping it close right now. They were favored by, I think, 20. They're up by 9. 3 minutes left in the first half. As soon as this halftime ends, load up on FSU second half. I won money last night betting the same thing on UT versus UT Martin. Vegas can't pay attention to everything, so you pay attention to what they're not paying attention to. So college basketball early season, That's how you win money. Second half, FSU, they will cover against Pennsylvania. Don't care what the line is. Bet it. Thank me later. Well, next Wednesday.
They don't ever release lines for like more than 1 or 2 days out for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree entirely. College basketball,
Yeah,
if you put the right focus, you can make some money because Vegas, I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen at this point. It's a total coin flip.
They're minus 20.5 right now.
Right, that's live betting. Wait till halftime.
yeah,
Wait till
that's
halftime, and then bet the second half.
So,
Or you can bet it now. I like that line right now. They're up by 9. They're gonna pull away. Go ahead, put
I
1,000.
actually wanted to bet the Villanova UCLA game for my bet your nuts, and I couldn't get a clear definition of the line, so I shied away from it. But I like Nova in that game. So
next week we're gonna be on. We're gonna have UT versus Villanova pending on Saturday. So we should do a whole breakdown on that.
I will be. I can definitely jump on. I will be in Hilton Head next week.
Oh, that's weird. You're traveling again?
hey, excellent. He's got money.
Just playing a little golf next week.
Use the mute button this time.
Yeah.
Sorry about
that. All right, guys.
No, single parent this weekend. I get it.
Little different energy to this with 4 of us, and me eating chips and drinking Pepsi. So I mean, I like it.
Yeah, I hope Doritos is paying us for that sponsorship. You just showed up.
Oh wow,
Wayne's
Pepsi.
Wayne's World, total Wayne's World move.
Mm-hmm.
I was hungry.
It was fun.
It was a great night for Raj Mehta. Anybody got final words? What am I doing? Final words. Raj, final words.
2 things. Just stoked that college basketball's here, and again, don't get the SEC playing Alabama, playing some chump team the second to last week of the year. They do it every year. Get over yourself, Aaron Rodgers. That's all I got.
Brandon Jane.
Digging the new format. Thank you guys for kind of inviting me into your, 3R situation here. It's fun. We had a good show last week. I know. Very lucky.
You're lucky, man.
Yeah, I'm blessed. But I got 2 smart people, a questionnaire, and I bring the stupidity to it, so it all works out.
They said
we're well rounded.
I think that's the reason you got the spot.
Yeah, that's what happens. But no, it's been fun, and yeah, Titans are going to win the Super Bowl.
All right, my last word is going to be a simple one. Josh Heupel is a football coach. He dressed 68 scholarship players and beat a top 25 team, Kentucky. I don't know if the SEC will catch up with Josh Heupel and what he does, and I don't want to hear about the defense played 99 snaps. Oh, you're criticizing the offense for scoring. That's how you win the football game. And if Jalen Hyatt just doesn't run out of bounds, we've scored 3 times in less than a minute in the first quarter. The most impressive thing, though, was with 16 seconds, he got his football team into field goal position.
Without using a timeout.
Yeah, all he needs to do, you're right, is we'll see how the football players get to Knoxville. Is he going to be a recruiter? Are we going to be a junior college school? Are we going to be a portal school? I really think that we may be a portal school. We seem to finish second on everybody. They go to their first choice, they're unhappy, then ends up at Tennessee. But if you give that guy a full roster, and I don't think I'm not here to say he's going to win a national championship in the next 5 years, but I know with 68 kids, 68 scholarship players, he's competitive with teams with 85. So something about that guy. And Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator they hired from Penn State. Give him credit too. Horrible call on 4th and 24. Horrible call to rush 3. But the next 4th down in 4th and 10, He lit Kentucky up. So I wore it tonight. I'm very proud for the first time in a long time to be going to Knoxville this weekend to play number one. And do I think we win? No. Do I think we get embarrassed? No. So Josh Heupel, you're my man now. I'm all in.
Future is bright.
Robbie Davis.
Well, text me this weekend. You can park at my place
Cool.
and tailgate. So my last words are not sports related, as probably you guys could guess. I have two family members that have COVID right now, and I just got my third shot today. It's important. Please keeping safe for everybody, and do your part. And just it's a simple shot, and it's effective. There's no side effects. There's science. Don't do your own research. Read research that doctors have done.
Amen.
And please just we're almost through it, and we're getting to the end, but keep doing what we can, and keep doing your part.
Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant.
I got my Spider-Man Band-Aid, and I promise you it did not hurt. I have no side effects. I'm not losing my mind. Well, that's up to debate.
Let me tell you what
Yeah.
you don't do either.
Yeah, that happened pre-COVID shots for sure.
I had a briefcase in my car that had all my personal documents that I was going to a doctor's appointment, and someone broke into my car and took it. I think they were looking for drugs, nothing in there. I lost my COVID card, and they will not replace them. So luckily, I have a picture.
Take a picture of it. Yeah.
You gotta scan that in and keep it. I keep a photocopy in my
Yeah.
wallet.
Yeah. Well,
That's what
mine's
got me
my
into
thumb
games.
in the middle of it, but so far it's worked. But I've got to get my third. So
so-
take a picture of your card. They will not replace it.
So I've gotten, and just quick PSA, I got my shots at just some of these drive-through things. If you do, I can't speak for Walgreens. If you get it at CVS, they will run you, and they have a printout, and they'll keep all your records so you have them. So if you can make it a point, it's all free. So just go do it. But you can get a printout of your health records at those pharmacies.
Yeah, I keep a picture on my phone, and then I keep the actual card in my safe at the house. So
So, like I said, it was a
So Brandon has a
personal-
safe in his house.
Yeah, it was a personal briefcase.
it's a small safe.
I also lost my birth certificate, my daughter's birth certificate, every important document that I've had. I've been able to get them all replaced. I have a copy of my COVID card, but it has my thumb in the middle of it. So far, it's worked, but I'm about to go try to get my boosters.
They have to, at least where I got our shots, we had to fill them out and do like our address and our date of birth and kind of stuff like that.
It's in the computer.
Yeah.
You go back to the same place, they'll find they've got it.
I went to the
on
Hamilton
record.
County Health Department. They're not being very healthy. All right, guys. Wednesday night next week. Are we going to stay on Wednesday night right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Wednesday
love
night.
Wednesday night.
For a little while, we're going to be here. The midweek recap.
Reckless speculation.
Yeah, what are you talking about? What's in
I-
that Pepsi?
I was going to the reckless speculation.
Oh,
but, I mean, it's the
I'll
midweek.
shut up. You
It's
got to
the
mute
midweek.
us when you don't want us to talk.
Reckless speculation or speculation. Your midweek recap with Randall, with Rod, with Robbie, and with Brendan James. Good night. Be safe. Get a shot.
Let's go.